Hey you guys, what's up? I'm gonna do a video blog on how to get started on writing because I get asked a lot of questions about it. So I'm gonna show you the steps that I've learned and that I've applied to writing my first and my second book to get it completed. I will have the help of this handsome young man right here, Mr. Zakatak, who is my sidekick, and he will follow with me through every step of the way. So, first thing that writers have a problem with is structure. So that will be the number one thing that you have to focus on, and just putting your ideas out there. So what would be good is doing this poster board like I did right here. And so I have a poster board outlined with my chapters, and it's color coded with pink, green. It could also be blue. I ran out of, as you can see, I ran out of blues, so I had to do green and yellow or orange at the bottom. So what that represents is the emotion in your writing. So the pink is 100% emotion, the blue or the green is 80%, and the yellow or orange is 60%. Now, what I do is, as you can see, the poster board is divided by beginning, middle, and end, with pink starting off on every column and then going down as you can see the structure. So the pink I use to kind of grab the reader's attention. However, it's not the pink that the reader wants. The reader wants the 80% emotion. So I use the pink to will my reader in and give me them what they want, which is the 80. When I was doing the structure for my board, I noticed that I had a lot of things in the back. So I had to restructure my board and put more of the 80% at the front to give my reader what they want. And that was really helpful because I could have written myself into a dead end. And it would have just been, it would have been a disaster. So by doing that, I can see where my flaws are in the structure of my writing without even writing one sentence down. The yellow at the bottom, those are the 60%. You really don't need very much of them. As you can see, I only have a couple. Maybe one more could have been added there, but it wasn't necessary. And it's just to transition from one to the other. So that's basically what that was for. Then is the writing process. So I have here the journal that I wrote my second book in, 100%. Second book is named Puto. And so I just began writing. So every page is filled. What I like to do is I like to write in journals that don't have lines because they limit me. I mean, you have what, you do what's best for you. But I don't have very neat or structured handwriting. So I can be as sloppy as I want. And as you can see, there's a lot of crossing out and all of this stuff. And I just write. See, a girl coked out of her fucking mind. That's actually in the chapter that I wrote in Puto. It's called First Kiss. Very sweet of me. And so here you also see that I categorized, while after I was writing. I don't think about it while I'm writing, but whatever chapters happen to fall in that category, then I do it there. I also have many journals. So this journal right here, I've had for 10 years. I put dates on things. So this one is from 2004. A lot of them are from this one's from 2007. Stories that were told to me. And so I incorporated these stories that my uncle Chunky told me in Puto. So I have it there, and as you can see, it's falling apart. But whatever. I also carry journals with me in my purse because I like to eavesdrop. So that adds, I can get some details just by hanging out at different places. So for instance, I was hanging out at Starbucks waiting for my homegirl, and I was eavesdropping on this guy that was on the phone. He was a biker, a real tough dude. He smoked Marlboros, and so I'm writing the details of him. He had faded jeans and long black sleeves. But he was talking about a friend of his that was out, or he wasn't out, but he had a $1 million bail for stabbing somebody 66 times. And what was unique about this stabber, I guess you can say, that he had a shamrock tattoo with 666 right above it. And then his friend was like, yeah, he was arrested for drug trafficking, smuggling. And so the murderer was a guy named Little Derek, always kept to himself. So I was just eavesdropping on that conversation. It's not a very good idea to discuss stuff around writers because we write it down or memorize things like that. So I always keep, this stuff handy in my purse. Then once I was done writing, I write. I eventually go to the computer after I'm done writing. So what I have here is I have a lot of chapters that I wrote with the word count. So, like for instance, Puto and Side Bitch, that was 549 words. And then I continue on, with word count, and that way it keeps me on track. There's a space down here, but it fell to the floor and it just kind of stayed there. But I'm done with it, so I don't need to put it back up. And this, for instance, is another page where I did my chapters. Now, with this, my goal was to write 34,000 words because that's the average book published in the United States, and I actually surpassed that. That's why I kept counting, the words, and I actually did over 38,000 words. Now here, these were the chapters that didn't make the cut. And that's okay, because I still have them written. There just wasn't enough room, or it didn't fit in the structure of the book. So will they come later on? Maybe, I don't know. But they're, I still have them. It's just like a movie scene or a movie script. Not everything makes the final cut. So these didn't make it. That's okay. And then here were my writing goals. So every day I had a goal because I had a deadline of December 1st of finishing my book to send it off to the publisher to get it into print. And so those were my goals, and I kept track of it. Now right here, now I have inspiration. So that is my Uncle Chunky on the left and my cousin Ando on the right. And that articles of them when they were when they passed away, and then pictures of them. So I write for a greater purpose other than me. So whenever I get lazy or I feel like I can't do it, I just I have something inspirational that will remind me that my writing and my book is bigger than me. So I stop being a little whiny bitch, and I just fucking write. So, that's my inspiration. And my cousin Ando was the protagonist in my first book. So I have my first book right here. It's Prison Letters. And so, see, that's Nando right there. And so it's a book about where my cousin goes to prison, and after every chapter that I write, there is a letter for him from prison. So see, that's one of his letters right there, because he has the italics writing. And so it talks about his journey in prison. And actually right here are all of his letters that I saved and that are in the book. So that was my first book. What is also helpful is if you read. So I have 3 bookshelves in my house. I use a lot of things that aren't bookshelves, like my bed, as you can see, the floor, my car, things like that. So I read by a lot of writers who I admire and, inspire me. So Junot Diaz, he won the Pulitzer Prize. He's actually going to be at San Diego State July 31st, 2018. So if you have a chance, go check him out if you're in San Diego. And then I'm currently reading Julia Alvarez and the Time of the Butterflies. So right here I'm on chapter 10, and I could probably finish that in like a couple days. I also like to read books on writing. So here's one by Stephen King on writing. So in order to become a better writer, also read on how, like, for instance, Stephen King is, you know, the master in his genre, and or in general. So you want to study the masters as well too. So in this book, Stephen King gives you techniques as to how to become a better writer. Another one that I like is John Truby, and you can actually find his videos on YouTube too, as well too. But here he talks about the structure of storytelling and ways to also structure your story. I also like, you can read Ernest Hemingway on writing. That's a good one. I also like reading autobiographies just to learn in general about life. So this one is Malcolm X. Read that. It opens up with the KKK coming down to burn his house. Sonia Sotomayor. Sonia Sotomayor. I read this in about a week. You know, it shouldn't take long for you to read a book. If you dedicate yourself to an hour a day, you can easily get a book done every week. That shouldn't be hard at all. Get off social media. And first Latina in the Supreme Court. I also like writers like Sandra Cisnero, Caramelo. I enjoyed this one summer and just read that one. If you're like an entrepreneur and stuff like that, I recommend Tony Robbins' Money Master the Game. There's a lot of jargon in here that you may not understand, which is cool. Just kind of get through it, because I had a problem with some of the jargons, like a fiduciary, but I eventually figured it out. And he tells you at the beginning of the book about the jargon. So that's pretty much it to get you started. Zach and I will be back with more videos. I just coming back from the gym, so I stink, and so I need to go take a shower and wash all my major body parts. All right, because I am not the business right now. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and hit me up. All right, bye.